But I was a champ and forced blue red, and then pack 3 pick 1. Got.
You heard it here first, folks. Just be a champ, force blue red, no notes.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Lords of Limited. My name is Ben Warney, and joining me on the line, as always, Mr. Ethan Ice Cream Kitty Sachs. This is maybe the most Ethan card that has ever Ethaned. It's 2 out of 3 Jund colors. It cares about rectangles. Have you sacrificed things to Ice Cream Kitty in early access?
I'm sorry to say, I think I did. I was about to say I didn't, but I believe I did in the one black-green deck that I drafted on mobile. I had one, activated it a couple times. It wasn't that good for me, but I saw it be good for my opponent in a couple spots. So yeah, I think this is an apt card for me. Are you a fan of the kitty?
I'm a fan of the kitty. I'm mostly annoyed that there's been like 5 card designs that have been absolutely wasted on this format. I think are really cool card designs, and then just are going to be lost to the annals of time because TMNT is going to have a half a week shelf life.
If that, I want to call it just dead on arrival. To be honest,
Dobbs, huh? Just Dobbs on arrival.
I don't know. I was skeptical. We aired our hesitations last week, and I'm just full on like, I think we're good. I think we're going to talk about our early access updates this week, and then I think we will move on from this format for the future of the pod.
That is my feeling as well. And we were talking right before we pushed record. Like, I just don't particularly feel like engaging with small sets going forward for the podcast.
And it doesn't feel like our audience wants us to engage with small sets going forward.
If we did an episode, I would rather do this episode. Like, play early access, do some drafts, get the lay of the land, and then tell people, here's what we found the lay of the land was.
What to expect.
That seems more helpful.
For week 1?
Yeah.
You think us getting our hands on the cards is more helpful than us taking stabs in the dark, is what you're saying?
Shocking, I know, right?
This is a very
as good as my predictive powers are.
I would be curious to hear what the masses think. So let us know in the comments. Let us know in Discord. Because I think Star Trek is going to be a small set. We're going to have another small set this year, and so it's like, how do you want us to approach it? Do you feel like, nah, we're good? We've got, if we want to find, set review content elsewhere, or you're like, yeah, I would like the one check-in from you guys to hear what you think about the cards. Then I think we can bake that in. And thank you to everybody who reached out, as we were talking about what do we do in the coming weeks. Well, we actually already sort of mapped things out, and I think we're basically set, weirdly, before Strixhaven comes out. Maybe we have like one episode to think about what we want to do, but also got a lot of feedback about what to do for our sort of, upcoming potential July hiatus with Ben on Wedding and Honeymoon and me on Baby Number 2. So we got a lot of really good feedback about what kinds of things people want, and really appreciate that. And also just really appreciate the overwhelming sense. Just seems to be like, whatever you guys want to do. We would like to listen to you talk about Magic every week. So whatever you want to do that covers that sounds good to us.
Yeah, I think, and that's the reason to not cover small sets at all or thoroughly going forward, because I think you and I aren't passionate about it. And I think the strength of our show is that both you and I are obsessed with and love Magic the Gathering and are obsessed with and love draft. So we should just follow our passions.
So we are going to do our sort of first impressions, early access info dump. You did an at-home pre-release, so we'll get some deets about that in just a second. After we do a little housekeeping, let's chat about the Patreon page. Patreon.com/Lords of Limited is where folks can go to give back to the show. We've got a lot of great perks over at the Patreon. 2 that we always shout out. One is access to our Discord, which is a 24/7 limited tech support massive chat room for like-minded limited individuals. So if that sounds like you, if you're looking for a limited community, head on over there. And we also have access at a higher tier to our podcast feed, where you get this episode a day early, ad-free, and also access to our weekly bonus episode of Lords Unlimited. Ben, Survivor is back. So
Survivor is back. So stoked.
Survivor. As I was rewatching it actually, because I had some friends over last night, and one of them was like, oh, I didn't watch it yet. And everybody else was like, we'll rewatch it. And I was like, is there an episode to be done in this hiatus time, in this small set time, to talk about like the parallels between Survivor and Magic, or like how playing one game makes you better at another, or something like that?
Amen. I just
All
listened
right.
to The Joy of Gaming with Richard Garfield on Lucky Paper Radio, and it was a great interview about that style of thing.
Yeah. Love Survivor. Anyway, we will certainly be talking Survivor on Lords Unlimited. We also talk Magic on Lords Unlimited. So if any or all that sounds of
Begrudgingly.
interest to you, begrudgingly, we no. If any or all that sounds of interest to you, if you want to do, you can do the podcast feed for like a free week trial to see how it fits in. Like, oh, what's this about? Oh, what's this bonus episode like? All that stuff. You can check it out there. And we want to shout out our new patrons the first week that they joined. So this week we are welcoming John, Yeomanson, Phil, and Will. Thank you, thank you, thank you. We really appreciate your support.
Yeah, cannot say thank you enough.
Also, want to shout out a perk in the Discord is the Lords of Limited Treasure Hunt is back via one of our Dear Sweet patrons who's been on our show before. J Maz Jared is doing the Treasure Hunt and has revived it for TMNT. I think last time when he did it for Lorwyn, the community knocked everything out in about a week. I expect nothing less from folks for the turtle set as well. I really, mostly my favorite part of the treasure hunt so far is seeing what names Jared comes up with. And I think he's doing great so far. He has some really good deep turtle quote cuts that I appreciated as a fan. So if you want to do that, if you want to join people and trying to knock off some achievements together, the treasure hunt is also a sweet perk of the Discord now as well. This message is sponsored by Raycon. With the Super Bowl and the Winter Olympics this month, there's no better time to get inspired, push harder, and upgrade your workout routine.
Ethan, I know you're not the biggest football fan, but even you must know that the Super Bowl already happened.
Go sports! Raycon's Essential Open Earbuds don't block out everything around you, so you can stay aware while running, lifting, or walking outside.
I never would have thought I would have cared about Raycon's Essential Open Earbuds. I was not a wireless earbuds person. You notice I'm wearing a wired earbud in this video, but I use my Raycon's Essential Everyday Earbuds constantly. They have improved my quality of life 10x from wired earbuds, and just recently I was traveling with them and I thought I lost my earbuds, and the amount of despondency I felt when I thought I had lost them, and then the triumph of finding them again was amazing. And if I had not found them, I would have instantly been going to Raycon and ordering another pair because I think they've become a part of my everyday life at this point.
I don't know how this happened, but I have lost one of the two earbuds. And I only use them in my bedroom. I only use them when I basically listen to stuff to fall asleep to, and I don't know where it went. I've scoured the bedroom floor for them. I don't know where it is, and so I'm just gonna have to bite the bullet and get another one, but I will happily do it. Raycon has over 3 million customers, 2 of them right here, and the sound quality is just as good as the way more expensive brands. Plus, these earbuds are ultra lightweight, have multi-point connectivity, and 36 hours of battery life. And if you don't like them, they have a 30-day guarantee.
The Essential Open Earbuds are here to help you go for the gold. Go to buyraycon.com/LOLopen to get 15% off. Thanks, Raycon, for sponsoring.
All right, I want to hear about your pre-release with your brother.
Yeah, my oldest brother Nick and I pre-released at home. He bought a whole play booster box of TMNT. So we're gonna have some packs for the bachelor party weekend coming up here in a month or so.
Great.
I don't know how exciting that is for you.
Yeah.
But I played blue, green, splash black. He played green, black, and it was a rare fest. It was some high-powered games of Magic. We had some insane games. I lost in 3 games to him. 2 decking because I just didn't have the tools in my deck anymore to fight through the board state we'd built. Lots of cards were stolen on both sides of the battlefield. He had Krang and Shredder, which is a Dimir rare. It's 4 Dimir for a 6/7, and on ETB or attack, your opponent exiles cards until they hit a non-land, and then if something disappeared, you get to cast a card exiled with Krang and Shredder for free without paying its mana cost. And I had Kitsune Dragon's Daughter, 4 blue for a 6/6 rare vigilance. When it enters or deals combat damage to a player, you can exchange control of 2 other target creatures controlled by different players. So we were each trading some rares back and forth from both sides of the battlefield in our third game. It was epic.
You have just named 2 cards that are just extraordinarily impactful, not only the turn they come into play, but have the potential to be recurringly impactful. They are rares. They're not mythics. I really hate to say this about a format. This is a Prince format.
This is a Prince format for
This is
sure.
the bombiest of bomby formats where it's just like, oh, you're Haymaker, I Haymaker, you're Haymaker. Do you have another Haymaker? Do you 2-for-1 my 2-for-1? Like, it's pretty absurd. I played against Krang and Shredder. I played with Kitsune Dragon's Daughter, which is just nuts in blue red artifacts because you're like, here's a 1/1 Mouser. I'll just take your best
Your best
creature.
creature, yep.
And you threaten to do it again. Like, we used to spend 5 mana for this effect called Switcheroo. Now it's
didn't
6
come
mana.
with a 6/6.
Now it's 6 mana, comes with a 6/6, and you can do it repeatedly.
Yeah.
It's ridiculous. Okay.
Yeah. Another highlight, I would have legend ruled myself, but my brother allowed me some takesies backsies. But this was because of different arts. Like, I'd never really experienced that in paper. There's all the legends running around, but all the alternate arts with all the legends running around too. So I had April, Reporter of the Weird, which is 2 and a blue for an uncommon 2/2. When it deals combat damage to a player, draw that many cards and discard a card. I had 2 copies, but they were different arts. How it's hard enough to keep track of legends without different arts.
But I feel like your main problem was like the commas. Like, I feel like you had the issue with, like, before, maybe in Final Fantasy, there was stuff where it wasn't like name, comma, your title. This was name, comma, title. So I think it's on you.
Title. New cards, different arts. No, not on me. And just
Okay.
paper magic. Paper magic's hard, man. Do you need the giant bow and arrow icons flashing on the cards for some secret reach, some secret flying? But it was a good time. Had a great time hanging out with my brother. His children had play practice while we were playing, and he was supposed to pick them up at 6:00. But my house is like 3 minutes from the middle school. He was like, nah, they can walk home. And you would have thought he had sentenced them to death. He called them and told them they had to walk to my house. It's like a 10-minute walk. It was a beautiful day. So yeah, it was a good time.
How old? How old?
8th grade, 7th grade. So 14 and 13.
So prime complaining time.
Prime teenage girl era. Yep.
Yeah. Oof. I'm not ready. Okay, let's get some early format impressions here from early access. I did about half a dozen drafts. I don't know how much early accessing you got in.
I did 3 drafts, 2 trophies, and 1-0, and then hung it up. Had the format solved.
Look at you go. The format solved for me was so of my 6 drafts, I trophied 3 times. Would you like to guess the color pair that I trophied with 3 times?
Blue red easy.
Blue red easy. Blue red easy. Blue red as predicted, or maybe as hoped, as we often do, or as you often
predicted.
do.
I know a good Magic deck when I see one.
Blue red is nuts in this format. And I will say, like, I don't know if it was just the pods or whatever. I don't want to over index. It did feel slightly more forcible. It felt like things were you had slightly more agency in the pick 2 world than I felt like I did in Spider-Man. And I don't know if that's copium, I don't know if that's just small sample size, but that was my takeaway, was that I felt like I could do a little bit more than in Spider-Man. I felt like whatever 2-color deck is open to me is what I'm going to have to draft. And I saw this, I think, reflected a little bit on socials as I was browsing people, sending tweets about early access or maybe some drafts they did in paper, but that some people were doing well with 5-color nonsense, doing well with the non-supported color pairs, which does make me think that you have a little bit more agency in the draft than perhaps in Spider-Man.
I mean, I definitely drafted blue-red underneath someone who was passing to me, who was blue-red and still 4-0'd. No, I got lucky to open. I opened pack 1, pick 1, the North Wind Dragon or whatever, the 2 blue-red 5/5 flying, 6/6 flying. It's large.
5/5 flyer, yeah.
And you get to go search up a card from your sideboard. I opened that pack 1, pick 1, and pack 3, pick 1. And then had a copy of the 9/9 trample haste flying, whatever, Krang, I think is the name of it. Had a copy of that to go get out of my board for my 2 copies of the Northwind Dragon. That was a choice draft. Definitely right to force blue red underneath a blue red drafter.
So did you cast Krang?
Oh, hell yeah, I cast Krang.
Wow. 9 mana. So good to go search up. I was like thrilled to, because I also had that Northwind Dragon in one of my blue red decks. And I was just thrilled to go search up, I wasn't playing the land cyclers in my deck. But I was like, oh, I'll just go search up, the blue land cycler is a 5 mana 3/4 flyer ETB
Yeah,
loot. That felt great to just go get with my dragon. Like, but
absolutely.
that seems like chump change compared to what you were doing.
Well, my go-to was dragon number 1, get a land drop, and dragon number 2, go get the 9 drop.
And very nice for Arena. I remember back in the day playing with like Fae of Wishes or something, having to manually add basics to my sideboard and limited to make sure that I had basics to fetch. No, Arena's got you covered. There's a basic of every type when you play the Northwind Dragon. Okay, so we'll probably talk a lot about Blue-Red today. What else would you like to say about the format?
I just wasn't excited. I wasn't excited for early access, which is the first time I've ever felt that, which was not ideal. And then the other thing that led to a lack of excitement, we talked about it some with all the legends, whatever. All of the mechanics being re-racks of other mechanics means there is no puzzle to solve. Like we know exactly how all these mechanics play out. Are they in a new setting? Yes, but having a good mechanic goes so far for a new format for me. Like I think that's why Avatar hit so well, is because the mechanics were very unique and very good. And it's just a bummer that they decided to re-rack mechanics, decided to re-rack a lot of types of archetypes as a result of the mechanics being re-racked. So it just doesn't feel like there's much new. Plus, it's only half a card set. My takeaway was similar to yours, I think, that small sets just are not where it's at for draft. And I think an even bigger takeaway for me was pick 2 is also just not where it's at for draft. I felt like I was playing a dumbed down game of Magic. Like pick 2 draft in a small set feels closer to Hearthstone Arena to me than it does to Magic the Gathering draft. And I love draft. This isn't it.
It feels closer to like Jumpstart to me, weirdly. Like it just feels less. I don't know. Maybe it's just because you're half the picks are happening, or half the new information is happening because you're seeing half the sets. But I agree. I mean, we'll see. I know some people are like, "Oh, great! So Arena's offering 8-person pods as well." I'm very dubious of small set draft with 8 people. Some people were like, "Oh, sealed might be better." I'm sort of dubious of small sets and sealed. Like, I just think small sets for limited are not good. And I did say this when someone was like, well, how do you feel? And when I was watching some other streamer, maybe it was Florida Man, and he was like, how do you feel about the set? And I said, I think it's cow boring is my takeaway right now.
Brutal.
It also just feels so, I don't know, divorced from Magic. And I felt like I would never say this, like that I have an opinion about like what belongs in Magic or not. But there is something about like seeing guns on the artwork of Magic that is not ideal for me.
Yeah.
I don't know. And maybe this isn't the first time that's happened, but it just feels the New York City of it all, I think also doesn't make it a great, like Spider-Man happened, the hot dog cart life, etc. And now we're here and it just feels the sewer grate and all that stuff. It just doesn't feel quite, it feels more like a fan project than it does like the actual thing that came from the company that makes the set.
I think another thought that I had was similar to what you were talking about with the rares being busted. I have been binging Lucky Paper Radio episodes about cube design and all that. And they talk a lot about power bands in the cube designs and where you're allocating the power to and what your power outliers look like and what types of power outliers you should have and how that impacts fun for the drafters, etc. And TMNT has some whacked power bands. Like there's a band of cards that are just like a lot of them. First of all, like there's a high density of them. Like there's a band of a lot of cards that are just busted compared to the good uncommons and the good commons. And then there's that band of good uncommons and commons that are like good, very good Magic the Gathering cards. It's a pretty high powered format. And then there's like a swath of cards that just are totally irrelevant. Like just completely irrelevant.
Yes. You're talking mostly about commons, right?
Mostly about commons. Yeah, like there's definitely 3 clear power bands, and the top band is way out of whack compared to the other 2.
Yes.
Yeah, in a way that's not very fun. Like there's a lot of large creatures with a lot of very good abilities.
Right. When I think about, another set where I feel like we talked a lot about power bands was Edge of Eternities, because it felt like there was such a clear delineation of like these are the cards that matter, and then these are the cards that don't matter, or these are the cards that matter, and then there's the rest. And we had this sort of like the Cryogen Relic, um, Galactic Wayfarer, and Virus Beetle as sort of the crux of the format. Like, how do you position things? Are they worse than this? Are they better than this? Are you taking these over them? Are you taking other cards over these? And I feel like the delineations in this format are just rares, uncommons,
It's
commons,
comments. Yeah.
basically.
I would say if you want to distill it down, yes, that's a good way to distill it down.
Yeah.
But also that there's
Which
much
also,
larger gaps between those three things than normal.
and maybe that's one of the other things where it's like, okay, the mechanics are a re-rack, and it feels like one of the fun puzzles of limited is when you're like, I think this uncommon is better than this rare. Or like, when there's a red removal spell that's a common versus a red removal spell that's an uncommon, where you're like, I think the common one is better than the uncommon. When there's like those interesting, finicky things that happen, because your gut always says, oh, this is a higher rarity, so it must be better. But in this format, that basically felt true, and that also just makes it be like, cool. So there's no puzzle there either. Like, just look at the rarity symbol and then pick the card if you think it looks good.
Yeah. So if we take a look at how the decks felt, I'm curious. These
Mhm.
are what I felt. Curious if you had a similar feeling, different feeling. So blue red was super synergistic. I think pick for best deck for me. It plays the best as tempo aggro. I think it can get a bit outclassed in the late game because one of the things that happens with blue red is you do a lot of stuff and take a lot of game actions and make a lot of game material, but almost all of it is small. And so if the game
Yes.
goes long, you can get just outbigged by a lot of the powerful rares that are running around.
I would just say, like, if you end up in a deck where you don't have like a handful of rares, you're gonna struggle in this format, I think. And so I agree with you there, but I would also be like, why are you in blue red if you didn't open any good rares?
Because I think there's a lot of synergy at common and uncommon. I think it looks like you can build a pauper blue red deck, but I think sometimes like you're doing a lot of cute synergistic stuff that doesn't equate to what the format asks of you for the barrier of entry to how powerful the games are. Like what you're doing feels powerful because you're doing a lot of stuff, but it actually isn't that powerful.
Right. Because a lot of the stuff in blue red is 2-for-1 or 2-for-1 adjacent. You've got your 4-mana Donatello that's a 3/4 that draws a card if you have an
That's not even
artifact.
that good compared to the barrier of entry to the format.
Right. Well, that's my point, is like you can sort of feel like you're like, oh, I played my 2-drop that made 2/1/1s, or my 2-drop that was a 1/1 that's gonna be a 1/1 later that deals 3 damage. And then I did this other 2-for-1 thing, and then I played Donatello and I drew a card. It's like, yeah, but then what happens when your opponent plays Krang and Shredder?
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I think we're saying the same thing, which is that you need to have power in your deck.
Mm-hmm. And that's why you're saying the better versions of blue red will be tempo aggro, because they're closing
They
the
want to get
door
the game
before
over
that
with faster.
stuff.
Yes, correct.
Yeah, I buy that.
Green black, I played twice, played blue red once. Green black felt clunky at times, but it also has an absurd amount of individually powerful cards. That can like pop off some synergy too. Like Ice Cream Kitty is a dream. Like if you ever get to the late game and you get to spend 6 mana without tapping it to draw 3 cards and like refuel up with all your food tokens or your mutagen tokens, Green black was impressive. It needed to get to the late game, and I thought if it could, it was really strong there.
Yeah, and to that, like green black, there's a lot of life gain with with the
Yes.
pizzas floating around. Green black has that 4-mana 4/4 reach, trample, ETB gain 2. Quite a bit of incidental or just dental life gain running around in this format that I think green black takes advantage of quite a bit, but also makes the aggressive decks have their work cut out for them, I think.
White black, I was impressed with from opponents if they got the sneak curve outs. Like my opponents who played white black who mulliganed aggressively into good curves smacked me around quite a bit. And then there were some who did absolutely nothing also. I will say Ham TV Kyle Rose got me good with mono white sneak. Like just
Hmm.
absolutely dumpstered me with mono white sneak.
Okay. Yeah, I played Black White once and I didn't love it, but I also like it was clear for me going into the games that I did not have enough 1 and 2 drop enablers for the sneak, but not for lack of wanting them. And it was, I feel very confident that Black White was like what my seat wanted. There just weren't that many. I think I got no 1 drops, or maybe I got that the Beaver, the 1 mana 1/1 flyer, got that late. That was my only 1 drop, and then maybe a few 2s, but not like a ton of evasive 2s. So it was just hard for me to get the good sneak curves. And I felt like a little bit of like if you draw your deck in the wrong order, but maybe that's to your point of like mulligan aggressively when you are drafting the sneak decks.
Yeah, Dream Beavers is the card you're talking about. Single black 1/1 flyer. When this creature enters, each opponent loses a life. You gain a life. Scry 1. That card is the key, I think, to making that deck work. It was extremely impressive. I also played against a WotC employee who steamrolled me with a white black sneak curve out.
But that's not like, that doesn't make me want to draft that deck, because it feels like the deck has to be open and this very specific, or these couple very specific cards have to be available to you as well for the deck to
I agree.
function.
I'm not
Yeah.
excited
No,
about it, but I'm just saying that there's stuff there. It is not for me. That is not the style of deck that I like to draft, but just
for sure.
noting that for the people who are enjoyers of white or the sneak, like, I think it can be done for sure.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Blue green, I didn't play other than in the at home pre-release, but I played against some blue red decks. It felt like the worst of green black and the worst of blue red, and was a little identityless in terms of how it wanted a game of Magic to go to me.
Yes, I agree with that. And I also feel like it's the like lessons from life, the blue green card draw spell, weirdly like underperformed.
There's
Is
just not
that
time sometimes. The creatures get big in a hurry in the format. Like
yeah.
there's 4 mana 4/4s, like there's 5/4s running around. Like there's a lot of large, powerful monsters. So it felt difficult to find time to cast that to me.
Yeah, I kept like taking it and be like, "Oh, I'm gonna splash this in blue red," and then I'd get at the end of my blue red deck and be like, "I don't want to splash this. Like, this isn't synergistic for me. I don't need it. My deck has card advantage in other ways." Yeah, didn't see a ton of blue green mutagen tokens. We should shout out like mutagen tokens are air quotes new. Like that is the new mechanic for this format, but it's very like it's an artifact that you crack to put a +1/+1 counter on something. It's not hard to like know how that's going to play out. Like it
Correct.
plays out well. It makes instant speed removal feel good. Like you want to time it, but it felt very close to map tokens to me. Like very, or is that's what those are, right? The ones that explore.
Mm-hmm.
Felt very close to that, and was good, and that's like ostensibly what blue green is doing, but it didn't feel like unique to blue green.
And lastly, white red alliance. The decks with the good cards hit really hard, but I also played against some really anemic red white decks. Like the ones that played good red and white cards were really scary. So I think red white is a pretty big player, assuming you get the cards that you're supposed to have.
Yeah, I just felt like I played red white once, and I'm not even sure that my version was that good, but tough to play against decks with food. Tough to have your opponent starting at 23 or 26 life in the red white deck, especially because a lot of those cards are trying to do like little chip damagey things, or decks where you're like, if I get them down to 6, and then I'll do this burst damage, or play the spicy oatmeal pizza or something like that. And it's hard to do that when people start at 26 life.
Yeah, I think the card that was most impressive to me was Mighty Mutanimals, which
That card is
it's
ridiculous.
so dumb. Two white for an uncommon 2/1. When it enters, you make a 2/2 mutant creature token, and also has. I didn't read this part of the card. I just stopped.
You just
after
thought
there
it
when
was a 2/1 and a 2/2 for 4 mana?
I did, and I was like, "Oh, cool! You get a Blinket in red, in red white." But it also has Alliance. Whenever another creature you control enters, put a +1/+1 counter on any target creature you control. So you have to spend a removal spell on this stupid derpy 2/1. It is so busted.
Which already came with a 2/2 and a +1/+1 counter.
And a +1/+1 counter. Correct. Yeah. That card is broken in half. So if you want to talk about power bands, that shoots up into the top power band territory.
Yeah, that's like top uncommon contender for sure.
So was extremely impressed with that, and the red-white decks that had good game plans built around copies of that were impressive to me.
Okay, that tracks.
I think you could force because of the higher power bands. I think if you see the higher rarity cards and you get them early, they are worth trying to hang on to, certainly.
Yeah. Yeah.
And the hybrid lets you do that a little bit more than normal as well.
Yeah, maybe gives you a little bit more agency to ignore some signals and just draft around the good cards you already have.
Yeah, but largely my takeaway after the second time pick 2 is coming around is that pick 2 is not draft.
Let's chat about some individual cards. We got some movers up, some movers down. First on this list, what are we talking about?
April O'Neil Kunichi Trainee. This is 1 and a white for a common 2/2. When April enters Scry 2, April can't be blocked by creatures power 3 or greater. This is, I think you nailed this in the early access. It played out how you said. This is a good enabler for a sneak deck. It's good aggressive cards, moves your hands out. This card does a lot.
Yeah, I agree. I like April quite a bit. Next up is Sewer Valence Cam. Single blue for an artifact with flash. When it enters or leaves, you may tap or untap target creature, and you can pay 3 and a blue, sack this artifact, draw 2 cards. This was a really nice little synergistic piece in the blue-red decks that I played. Like 1 to 2 copies of this played out really well.
Yeah, it helps you play offense when you want to play offense. It helps you play defense when you want to play defense. It's card advantage. It's synergy. It's extremely flexible.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, love Surveillance Game.
Yeah.
Next up, we've got Oroku Saki Shredder Rising. This is 2 and a black for a 3/1 legendary creature, human ninja. It's got sneak, 1 and a black. Whenever Oroku Saki deals combat damage to player, you draw a card and lose a life. This is those sneak curve outs. The sneak curve outs where you go like Dream Beaver into Oroku Saki. Those are really tough curve outs to come back from.
Yeah. Yeah, that tracks. Next is Mouser Foundry. I loved this card. 1 and a red for an artifact. When it enters or leaves, create a 1/1 colorless robot artifact creature token, and you pay 4 and a red, sack this artifact. It deals 3 damage to target creature. Well, what's not to like? But this is that kind of card that I was talking about, like where you're like, this is like your little sort of overcosted 2-for-1 in your blue-red deck, where you could sort of convince yourself, I'm doing it, attrition, and then a bomb happens.
Yeah. I think this is still a very good, very synergistic card. Like, was extremely impressed with it. But this is exactly this and Ice Cream Kitty. Like, these are extremely cool card designs that are just wasted on this format, I feel like.
So you were saying reprint Mouser Foundry in Strixhaven.
In some other set that is going to take advantage of it being cool. Because one of the things that's annoying is it's a great synergy piece in a format where the synergy can get so invalidated. Like, let me do some cool stuff with my Mouser Foundries where my 1/1s matter in the course of the game.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. Mouser Foundry was really good in blue-red artifacts.
I've already less so
like the trinkety stuff like this and like the Boros hybrid. It's like 1 and a Boros hybrid for a 1/1 that brings a 1/1. That felt much less at home in Red-White Alliance to me. That felt like too small ball for Red-White Alliance to be like, I definitely want to make sure I have stuff that makes multiple bodies. Mouser Foundry specifically feels like a very clearly a blue-red gold card rather than, it could also go in red-white.
Correct. That red-white 2/1/1s is not worth a card, I don't think, usually. You have to be doing something pretty special.
I think it's good in the artifacts deck. Do you not think getting 2 artifacts from 1 card like that is good?
It's fine, but it's not like I would have expected. I would say if I had to pick mover up, mover down, I would expect that's a mover down for me. Like, I will not be picking that as highly. I want to be getting that when I'm in the artifacts deck with a bunch of other good cards. That is not close to moving you into the artifacts deck.
Okay, I believe that. That tracks.
We've sung Ice Cream Kitty's praises. This next card, I somehow missed looking at the things because you had to tab over to the next page. This was the secret hidden common, Omni Cheese Pizza. This is 2 mana for an artifact food. When this artifact enters, draw a card. You can 1-tap sack it to add 1 mana of any color, and you can 2-tap sack it to gain 3 life. Easiest Golden Egg Award of our lives, I think. We should have shouted this last week, but this does it all.
This literally is Golden Egg. This is not the easiest Golden Egg because it is The card
Oh, it
Golden
does the
Egg.
exact same thing, doesn't
It's
it?
the literal same card. Yes.
Oh, I didn't even think about that. Yeah, literal same card. Well, it does do it all. Again, much like Golden Egg did in its original format.
Yes.
This is an artifact for the artifacts deck. It's a free way to trigger disappear for all the decks that care about things disappearing. It's fixing, it's life. Like this, yeah, Omni Cheese Pizza is an extremely good glue piece for the format.
Yep. We talked about Mighty Mutanimals being nuts. Dream Beavers, extremely powerful for the sneak decks. This next one, Courier of Comestibles. 1 and a green for a 1/2 human citizen. When it enters, you may search your library for a food card, reveal it, put it into your hand, then shuffle. If you don't, you just create a food token. But there's a lot. Like, all the pizzas are foods. Plus, like, my opponent searched up the green-black signpost, like pizza face or whatever. I was like, wait a minute, you can just find creatures with this thing? Like, there's a lot of stuff in the format that is food, and they're good. And this searching up, like, the kill spell is great. Courier of Comestibles is very, very impressive.
It can also get Ice Cream Kitty. It's extremely flexible. Yeah. And I was just extremely impressed with pizza, but finding out that there were creatures that were food also that you could get bumped this up for me.
Next up is Koya, Death from Above. This is 2 and a white for a 2/1 legendary creature, Mutant Ninja Bird. It's got flying, and when it enters, you exile up to 1 other target creature. At the beginning of the next end step, you may pay 3 and a black. If you don't, return that card to the battlefield under its owner's control. I mean, this is basically Flicker Wisp. Like, it's a 3-mana 2/1 flyer that blinks something, and which is just extremely versatile. You can blink your own stuff out from under aura-based removal. You can kill tokens dead. You can rebuy ETBs. And there were times, like, I did get to late enough in the game where I was able to just be, this is a 7-mana, just kill the creature dead.
That, I think, is almost a red herring, though. I think I initially was evaluating the card that way, and I was like, I'm not into that card. You just need to look at it as Flicker Wisp, and then it's extremely good.
Yes, agreed.
Mind Transfer Protocol is up next. 2 and a blue for an instant. Until end of turn, target artifact creature becomes an artifact creature with base power and toughness 4/5. Draw a card. Suit Up is back.
Yeah, I mean, this is like versions or like Suit Up, Mighty Metamorphosis or something. Like these blue tricks that cantrip. The bonus here of being able to just animate like a mutagen token randomly, like your opponent's like, oh, all your creatures are tapped, but you have some mana up, and then you just randomly animate some artifact to block, and you draw a card. This card is very, very good. One of the commons, like, this feels like one of the commons that matter in that sense.
I agree, but again, not fun. We knew Suit Up was good. Like, there's no
Correct
puzzle here. Like, just not fun, I think.
Yeah. I have a question here. Squirrelinoids, which is a single black 1/1 death touch. It's a squirrel mutant. I guess mutant as a type matters. But 1 mana 1/1 death touch is usually like fine. Nothing to write home about in a limited format. Felt fine plus to me here, as like this kind of is a sneak enabler.
Except, like, there are Mouser tokens running around everywhere. Like, is this good?
But not,
no. Is it bad? No. Also no. Like, I think matchup dependently, it can be really annoying. But I think looking at it as a sneak enabler is extremely tough, considering the amount of 1/1s that are clogging up the board.
Well, to that, it feels a little like there might be some rock, paper, scissors stuff happening in the format where, like, is Squirrelinoids a good attacker into blue-red? No, not at all. But maybe it's a good attacker into black-green or blue-green. And so it's like your sneak deck will pop off in those matchups, but maybe less so against the red-white and the blue-red. No, you're not buying it?
I'm not buying this as a sneak enabler, no. I think this is good as defensive speed when your opponent's on the play and is churning out 3/4s and 4/4s and you're a little bit behind on size.
Last card I have on this list is Old Hob, Alley Cat Blues, 4 and red for a 4/4. At the beginning of combat on your turn, you make a 2/2 red mutant creature token. It gains haste until end of turn. Destroy it at the beginning of the next end step. And you can pay 1 and a white to have target attacking creature token gain indestructible until end of turn. So my question, obviously this card is powerful. Is this good if you can't pay the activation?
I'm gonna reject your
You
premise.
you even reject the premise that this is powerful. Wow.
It seems fine to me in red white. Can't imagine
Okay.
it being that exciting there.
I kept cutting it in blue red, or like not being excited about it in blue red, and I feel like the
That seems like it
some Twitch
tracks.
chat was getting was pushing back on that. So I wanted to do a gut check here because for me, I was like, I don't think this does enough if you can't keep the tokens around. Slash,
It
like obviously the other better thing about this is if you the reason it's a red white card is for
This you
alliance
get double
triggers.
alliance triggers, but there's so many ways to do that. Like compare this to Mighty Mutanimals, and this is a joke compared to Mighty Mutanimals, like an absolute laughing
But
stock.
but you can't compare everything to like the best uncommon in the set. That's not fair.
Well, sure, but I like this isn't that much better than the common land cycler or whatever. This card's fine.
Okay,
This is
wow.
nothing to write home about, in my
Old
opinion.
Hob Alley Cat Blues is a mover down, apparently. Speaking of movers down, what do we got?
Crustacean Commando up first, RIP. This is too small ball for the format. This is one in a
Yeah.
blue, 03. When it enters, create a mutagen token. That type of cute synergy is not where it's at in this format.
Well, I also think that type of, and maybe it's why, like, if Squirrelinoids is not a sneak enabler, I'm not about it because I don't think like defense. It's weird. I don't think defensive speed like that is good in this format. Because I think you're like if you're trying to like buy time, I think you're either going to get run over or it's going to be a race to bombs, and these
Correct.
cards are going to be irrelevant.
Yes, I agree.
Yeah.
Lord Drag Insect Invader up next. This is one I had a question about last week, and I think the question was answered in that this is not good enough. This is 3 and a black, 3/2 flyer, uncommon. At the beginning of your end step, if a permanent left the battlefield under your control this turn, make a 1/1 black insect warrior creature token with flying, and you can pay 3 and a green, sack a token, draw a card. If you get it turned on, it's fine, but it's a disaster if you don't get it turned on the turn it comes down, and it's just
Yes.
small compared to a lot of the other 4-drops in the format. And that just, I think, is setting you up to be behind.
I think if this like came with a 1/1 and then had the text, it still would be a little like, ooh. Like 4 mana for 2 toughness is tough. I think.
Yes.
It's a tough sell. I wanted to check in on Henchbots. I'm sad to see that you have it in Movers Down. This is the 4 mana artifact, 2/3. When it enters, exile target tapped creature and opponent controls until this creature leaves the battlefield.
I just wasn't impressed. Having to wait until their thing was tapped felt bad. Like not being able to curve out with henchbots was pretty rough. And there's also a lot of the things you want to get rid of have good ETBs. And then so you're just like
So you're
fingers
scared.
crossed.
Yeah.
Like, yeah. I just wasn't impressed.
Interesting. Okay. Out on the henchbots. I put bot bashing time on this list. This is 3 in a red for a sorcery. It deals 6 damage to target creature. If that creature would die this turn, exile it instead. I found sorcery speed on this to be pretty rough. I was not happy with this card.
I mean, it's fine. You'll play it. Yeah. Totally replaceable removal.
And a surprising mover down, Purple Dragon Punks. 1 in a red for a 2/2 human rogue. It taps to add red. Spend this mana only to cast an artifact spell or to activate an ability. It was interesting, the trajectory of my 3 blue-red decks that I drafted. At draft 1, I ended up with like 4 copies of this, and I was like, I'm only going to play 3, but like, because I couldn't find room for the 4th. And then every subsequent draft, I was like, maybe I'll just play 2, maybe I'll just play 1, maybe I'm not going to play any of these. I don't think this card is good. And like the fact that it's not an artifact itself means you're playing less artifacts in your Artifact Matters decks. And honestly, like the 4-drop and 5-drop slot in my blue-red decks were not often artifacts. Like maybe I had a Metalhead in there, but like if I'm playing my Northwind Dragons or whatever, or maybe I'm playing a Mana Cycler, I don't know, if whatever I have in the 5-drop slot was not really usually an artifact. And so this didn't really let me curve out in any special way. This is not a good card, I think.
Yeah, I agree. This card does not cut it in blue-red.
Shall we draft log it up here?
We should draft log. We never have time for draft logs in these episodes, and I think half a set means we've finally got time for some draft logs.
But sadly, like the most interesting decisions are not here because we don't have the pack data for pick 1.
Nah, it's fine. We're gonna assume
Okay.
that I made the right first pick. So we're gonna take a look at this second draft on the show notes,
Okay.
which is where I was actually forced to pivot. So, well, actually, I probably didn't make the right first pick because I see a henchbot selected here, and in hindsight, that is almost certainly not right. But we're gonna roll with it. So,
Okay.
pack one, pick one. We took the Cloning of Shredder, which is 4 black for a mythic. Chapter 1, you exile target creature from your graveyard, create a token that's a copy of it, except it isn't legendary and is a mutant in addition to its other types. And chapters 2 and 3, same thing. So you get 3 copies of a card from your graveyard across 3 turns, which is totally absurd.
Well, you just get that same creature, and they can't stop you from doing that because you've
Correct.
exiled it. It just makes a
Correct.
token that's a copy of it. So you're going to get
Yes.
3 of that creature you exiled. Cool, cool, cool. At least this is a mythic.
At least this is a mythic. And it's slow. There's ways around it.
Okay.
And then I also selected Henchbots, which is going to have no bearing on our future picks, so that's nice. Pack 1, pick 2. With Cloning of Shredder and Henchbots, you're fairly open. Could be black-green, could be black-white, could be whatever. See the following cards as options. There's a Mouse or Foundry, 1 in a red artifact. When it enters or leaves, you make a 1/1 robot creature token, and you can pay 4 in a red to sacrifice it to deal 3 to a creature. There's Mind Transfer Protocol, the suit up, 2 in a blue, turn something into a 4/5 draw card. There's Uneasy Alliance, 1 in a white for an aura enchant creature. Enchanted creature can't attack or block, and you can pay 5, sacrifice this aura to exile the creature, and give yourself a 1/1 black ninja. There's Karai, Future the Foot, 1 white-black for a 3/3 legendary creature human ninja. Sneak, 2 white-black. Whenever it deals combat damage to player, return target creature card from your graveyard to your hand. If the sneak cost was paid, instead return that card to the battlefield. I think those are the only cards really in consideration. There's also Donatello's Technique, 2 in a blue for a sorcery with a sneak cost of blue, and you can draw 2 cards. I was not that impressed with that.
I just don't know if this is a format where like the fact that I'm not crazy about Lessons from Life, the 2 green blue draw 3, you can play an additional land. I just felt like raw card advantage like that was not good in this format.
That was my feeling as well.
Yeah. What about Turtle Blimp, which is also in the pack? It's a 5 mana, 3/4 flying vehicle, crew 2, and comes with a 2/2 red mutant creature token. Is that anything?
That card was better than I thought it was. I did play with it and against it, but I think not in consideration here.
Yeah, I think I agree with the selection you've made. I think like Karai, Future of the Foot, is the most powerful card here. Plus, it touches black for Cloning of Shredder. And then if you're taking Karai, I like taking Uneasy Alliance as the white removal spell that's in the pack.
Right. And so from this point, I was like, cool. Looks like I'm going to be black-white, which is usually how pick 2 drafts go. And so pack 1, pick 3, see the following cards as options. There's a Primordial Pachyderm, the 3 and a green for a 4/4 reach trample. When this creature enters, you gain 2 life. There's your boy Squirrelinoid, single black for a 1/1 death touch. Premium Sneak Enabler.
I don't think, well, we're ever talking about the set again, so it won't matter. But I don't know how I feel about your boy being Squirrelinoids for me.
I'm trying to get all the comments headed in your direction. Just rile up the people a little bit, you know?
Sounds like Ethan is way too high on Squirrelinoids. Okay, great.
There's also Oroku Saki Shredder Rising.
I just want to, you seem
3/1.
very tentative. You're saying the name correct. Oroku Saki. You're doing great.
It's because I really have to sound it out every time I say it. That's what's happening. That's the tension you're feeling. I'm not scared. I'm just like phonetically saying it every time instead of. It doesn't feel like a name. Oroku Saki. I see that it is because there's the comma Shredder Rising, but
There it is. Yeah.
the 3, or maybe we'll just call it Shredder Rising. The 3/1 deals combat damage to player. You draw a card and you lose a life. There's also Lessons from Life, 2 blue-green for sorcery, draw 3, put a land card from your hand on the battlefield, tapped.
That's it, right? I mean, I think you just take the 2 black cards here. You take Oroku Saki and Squirrelinoids and keep getting deeper into, like, I see no reason. Maybe if I saw this pack and I didn't have any picks made yet, I would think Lessons from Life plus Primordial Pachyderm were the best 2 cards to take. But I'm not even sure I think that now with how Lessons from Life has moved down for me. So I could see it being Oroku Saki and Squirrelinoids even so, and especially with Cloning of Shredder.
Sure, but I think the best card in the pack is the Pachyderm.
Yes, I would agree with that. I mean, maybe
Yeah,
a Rokusaki tussles with it. Pachyderm just felt huge.
it's
Every time
gigantic.
someone cast it, it felt
And
huge.
it
And it's not chumpable because it is trample. Like, it just
and
does
it
it
does
all.
have reach, so you can't race it. Like
Yeah.
Pachyderm was extremely impressive.
Yeah.
But I think leaving it here to try to stay on the black-white train with Karai and Uneasy Alliance, so took Oroku Saki and Squirrelinoids. Pack 1, pick 4. That dream starts to fall apart potentially a little bit here. So cards as options. There's Putrid Pals, 2 Golgari Golgari for a 3/3 Death Touch, and Disappear. It enters with 2+1/+1 counters on it if a permanent left the battlefield under your control this turn. There's also Ice Cream Kitty, 1 in Golgari for a 1/3, and you can pay 2, sacrifice another creature or token to draw a card. Worth noting, you can't sacrifice food. I tried to do this in early access. My brother tried to do this when we pre-released at home. Like, you can't sack Omni Cheese Pizza to this. It feels like
No,
you
you
should
can
be
sack
able
a
to.
food token. You can sack a food
Correct.
token, but
But you can't
not a
actually, yeah,
pizza.
but it feels like you should be able to feed the Ice Cream Kitty Omni Cheese Pizza, but that is not how it works.
I
Um,
agree.
so there's those 2 cards, and largely nothing else. I think. I mean, April Reporter the Weird is here. That's a good card. 2 and a blue for a 2/2. When it deals combat damage to a player, draw that many cards, discard a card.
Is the Paramecia anything? This is the 1 a black 2/2. When it enters, you mill 3 cards, and when it dies, you can exile it. When you do, you put target creature from your graveyard on top of your library.
I don't think so. A 2-mana 2/2 is not where it's at. It's not like you need to fill the graveyard for anything. I mean, maybe
Yeah.
it has synergy with Cloning of Shredder, I guess.
Well, I mean, I would definitely take Ice Cream Kitty out of this pack, and then you could hand me either that black 2-drop or the Putrid Pals. Putrid Pals, like, the difference between when this is a 4-mana 5/5 Death Touch, great. When this is a 4-mana 3/3 Death Touch, it's
It's pretty
laughable.
embarrassing. Yes.
So yeah, you took the 2 Golgari hybrid cards here. It looks like.
Yeah, to try to send a good signal. I was thinking no white here. Literally, like might need to think about abandoning ship.
But that's fine. I mean, you only took white cards from 1 pack.
Correct.
So I feel like at this point you just know that you're black and you're just figuring out what you're going to pair it with.
Yes, and then that becomes completely obvious in pack 1 pair 5, which is no white cards in the pack again, and 2 great green cards in Tenderize, which is 1 in a green instant. Target creature you control deals damage equal to its power to target creature an opponent controls. Normally, I don't like this type of card, but when it's basically on the wheel, I'm happy to snap it up. It's a very good card to see on the wheel. And then there's also Rocksteady Crash Courser, which is the green land cycler. 6 mana, 7/7, can't be blocked by more than 1 creature. And it's got Forest Cycling, which works great with the Cloning of Shredder. You can dump a 7/7 into the yard and then Cloning of Shredder it and have a large monster already there.
That's pretty good. I like that. And it helps you hit your land drops to get to Cloning of Shredder. I also didn't realize it's like Bebop and Rocksteady are a duo in the world of the Turtles. And Bebop is it the red mana cycler? It's one of the mana cyclers. And they pair together. Like, they basically make each other unblockable when they're in play.
Oh, because of rhinos.
Yeah, so
one of them gives rhinos menace, and one of
them says they can't be blocked by more than 1 creature, and so it effectively makes them both unblockable when they're on the battlefield together, which is cute. Not good, but cute.
Yeah.
Nice. Okay, so then you ended up Golgari from this spot. Yeah,
ended up Golgari from there. Yeah. Still seeing no white, and then pack 2 pick 1 opened 2 rares. Transdimensional Bovine, which is a 2 and a green 0/4 flyer that taps to add 2 mana of any color, and also the early mentioned in the episode Krang and Shredder, the 6/7 that steals your opponent's cards.
Must be nice to open 2 on color rares in your pick 2 life. You know what else Tenderize the punch spell is good with? My boy Squirrelinoids. Yeah,
your boy.
My boy Squirrelinoids.
I really wish that was going to be a bit for the next 2 months. I mean, sadly,
you can make it one if you want. We can keep talking about Squirrelinoids when Strixhaven is out. Should we talk about this other draft log too?
Yeah, let's do it.
Ooh,
so this is nice. What I referred to earlier in the episode, where I was blue-red very clearly, I think, underneath another blue-red drafter. But pack 1 pair 1 was the Northwind Avatar, which is the 2 blue-blue-red 5/5 flying mythic dragon that lets you go get a card you own from outside the game when it enters. And a Donatello, because I figured, why not? Let's play some blue-red. That's what I wanted to do, and this was my very first draft. So that's the 3/4. If you control an artifact, you draw a card.
Yeah. Okay, great.
Pack 1, pick 2, a significantly weaker pack. So
Mm,
cards to shout, Slither Encrypted, 2 and Simic for a 2/3. When it enters, create a mutagen token. There's also Utrom Scientist, 2 and a blue for a 2/2. When it enters, tap up to one target creature and put a stun counter on it. Those are really the only two cards that go with my first two picks. But there's
right.
other good cards in the pack as well. There's Anchovy and Banana Pizza, 2 black for an artifact food. When this enters, destroy target creature. There's also Mona Lisa Science Geek, 2 and a green for a 1/3 reach. Tap to add X mana of any one color, where X is Mona Lisa's power.
Is
There's
that good?
also, it's fine. It's good with mutagen tokens. You can pop off.
Yeah. Okay.
It's a little clunky.
Seems a little clunky.
There's Shredder Unrelenting, 4 and a black for a 6/4 uncommon with Sneak for 3 and a black. Death Touch, whenever it enters or attacks, another target creature you control gains Death Touch until end of turn. That card is not that good. But there is another uncommon that's very good, which is Lita, Little Orphan Amphibian. 1 and a white for a 2/1 uncommon, has Alliance. Whenever another creature you control enters, choose one that hasn't been chosen this turn. Put a +1/+1 counter on Lita, create a food token, scry 1. That card is an extremely good 2-drop in white text.
Yes. Yeah.
So
I
the
would
two best
say
cards in the pack are Lita and Anchovy and Banana Pizza, I think.
yes.
But don't go remotely with Donatello and Northwind Avatar. And if I'm being honest, I didn't bother to read the rest of the cards in this pack. I think if you're drafting seriously, you're probably supposed to take Lita and Anchovy and Banana Pizza here. I don't know. What do
Yes.
you like?
That's what I was going to say. I think you are, because one of two things is going to happen. If
Either
we
blue red's going to flow and you can abandon ship and just waste this pick.
correct. Either blue red is open and you won't like. I feel pretty strongly that Utrom Scientists is just bad. I do not think
agree.
that's just bad. Slither Encrypted, I think, is fine filler in blue red. Like the 3 mana 2/3 brings along a mutagen token is fine, but it's not what you want. So either blue red is open and this pick doesn't matter, or blue red is cut and you will regret not taking the two best cards out of this pack.
Yes, but instead, Blue Red was cut,
But what if I
but
told
I
you?
opened like a boss for so.
How could that be bad? So let's say let's see what happens next pick. Let's say you took
let's say I did
Lita
drafted
and
properly.
yes, correct. Well, this is a drafting podcast, so let's put some airs out there that we know what we're doing. And yeah, let's say you took Lita and Anchovy and Banana Pizza, and then what
You
happens?
get rewarded, I think, for your bravery. So pack
Okay.
1, pick 3. See the following cards as options. There is Manhole Missile as the only card that could go in a blue-red deck, which is 1 and a red for an instant, deals 3 damage to target creature. You can put a card from your hand on the bottom of your library. If you do, draw a card. This card's excellent. It not killing like Pachyderm and some of the other. There's a lot of good X4s that you need to interact with running around.
I kind of like that about like, because I think when this card both kills everything and is card selection, it's just like clearly the best common in the set. It's very oppressive. I like that it's like it's good, but there's still stuff that it doesn't kill. I think that's a good spot for this kind of card.
There's also a Tenderize in the pack. 1 and a green for an instant. Target creature you control deals damage equal to its power to target creature and opponent controls. And there's a bunch of other good green, black, and white cards here again. So we have Stomp by the Foot. 1 and a black instant. This card is not that good. Kicker, sacrifice an artifact to creature. Target creature gets -2/-2 until end of turn. If it was kicked, target creature gets -5/-5 until end of turn instead. That's kind of fillerish, I think, as far as removal goes.
Yeah, it's fine.
But there's also a Koya Death from Above chilling here, and I have been extremely impressed with that card. And I think I was misevaluating it correctly. Like, what you shouting it out as Flicker Wisp is like, oh yeah, duh, this card is great. So this is the 2 and a white 2/1 flyer that can, when it enters, exile up to one other target creature.
Yeah.
And then, it comes back unless you pay black, etc.
Right. So if you had taken the black and the white card, then you take Koya and probably still Stomped by the Foot. You could take. There's another Shredder.
I think you take Koya and Manhole Missile and just keep drafting 2 decks for now.
Oh, okay. I like that. So you just take the 2 best cards. They don't have to pair together, and now you have 3 cards for blue red and 3
for
cards
each
for
deck.
black white.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm down with that.
I think that's the right move.
Mm-hmm.
And then pack 1, pick 4. Here's where you probably start to do other things. So pack 1, pick 4. There's an Ice Cream Kitty in the pack. There's Pachyderm, 3 and a green, 4/4 reach trample. When this creature enters, you gain 2 life. There's Retro Mutation, which is 2 and a blue. Enchantment Aura Flash, enchant creature. Enchanted creature is a turtle with base power and toughness 0/1. It can't attack and loses all abilities. How you feeling about Retro Mutation?
I didn't see it cast. Every time I see cards like this, I'm just like, we didn't know how good we had it with Unable to Scream. I mean, maybe we did kind of know how good we had it.
I knew how good we had it with Unable to Scream. I picked that pre-format.
You knew. I don't know. I'm not into this card. Is ultimately how I feel. How should I
very
feel about
well in my sealed thing with my brother. Like as a oftentimes I could bait something into combat and just eat it, and if not, like shutting off all abilities and turning it into 1 is pretty strong.
Okay. Yeah, I definitely see it in sealed which feels like a rare fest. The like just whatever you can play that answers stuff. But scary with like slap a Retro Mutation on something and then I Koya it out from underneath.
Yeah. There's definitely downsides as well. So I think you're probably supposed to take Pachyderm and Ice Cream Kitty out of this pack.
Oh, I don't agree. Like with
what do you think you're supposed to take?
With what we think the correct path is?
With what we think the correct path is, yeah.
I don't like taking Pachyderm because it's your first green card.
But we're still trying to feel it out, right? Like what white or black card? If we're doing the feeling it out thing,
I was going to take High Flying Ace and Foot Ninjas. You don't like that? High Flying Ace is a 3 mana 2/3 flyer that can give something else flying for 4 mana, and Foot Ninjas is a 6 mana 5/5 ETB gain 3 with Sneak for 4 mana.
I don't think either of those cards are any good at all.
Really? Okay, so if you take Ice Cream Kitty and Primordial Pachyderm, what is the path? You've got Kitty, Pachyderm, and Pizza as your black-green cards.
Yeah.
I don't hate.
You're open to 3 decks at that point.
Yeah.
And this hasn't been a particularly high-powered... Like, you haven't seen high-powered packs. You've taken...
Yeah.
If you take that route, you've taken the absolute best cards out of every pack.
Okay. You're selling me on Pachyderm and Kitty, which actually plays well on the wheel when you wheel a Ragamuffin Raptor, the 4 and a green 4/3. When it enters, return up to 1 target creature or food from your graveyard to your hand.
Which should feel great, except 5 mana is so much to pay for that power and toughness, and to just get a 2 for 1.
I said last week.
That's what you said. I'm giving you points. I've played with Raptor a lot, and it is good. It's just so slow. It's so slow.
It's also not that good. Like you were saying, but you're paying 4 mana for a 2/2 for Gravedigger. Like this feels similarly like Shrug as a body. Like it dies to Manhole Missile, and you're like Ragamuffin Raptor better be getting back something. Like when it gets back Anchovy and whatever Banana Pizza.
But even that is 2 turn cycles. Like that's basically your whole turn for 2 turn cycles is to play a 4/3 and then play this removal spell that your opponent can see coming from 1 billion miles away.
Yeah.
So I points for you.
Yeah.
But I think this draft gets a lot more interesting, shockingly, if you do the right thing. And then
do what you're supposed to do.
You probably pivot into black green.
Well, because you're getting black green stuff on the wheel, and then you open
the
Rise of Sozin. Yeah.
So which is 4 black green for a mythic. You destroy all creatures. Chapter 2, you mill 4, can return a creature card from your graveyard to your hand. Chapter 3, whenever a creature you control attacks alone, you put 3+1/+1 counters on it. It gains trample, lifelink, and indestructible until end of turn. So you probably do end up black green, but I was a champ and forced blue red, and then pack 3 pick 1. Got paid off with a second Northwind avatar for my efforts.
You heard it here first, folks. Just be a champ, force blue red, no notes, you'll trophy. Yeah. I think we're gonna hang up our, I don't know, katanas and bow staffs and
bespoke bows.
Yeah, and call it on the TMT set.
But don't let us stop you from enjoying Turtles. If Turtles is your jam, enjoy it. Like I had fun doing my first few drafts. I just there, especially for podcasting, there is just not a lot of meat on the bone.
No, it's quite sinewy. There's not a lot of goods here. Stringy.
Stringy, that's the word I was looking for. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, go forth enjoy the turtles life. We will be coming to you with some other content. I will say, you mentioned Avatar earlier. I did some Avatar flashbacks. It's still recency bias. Set's a banger.
Set's a banger. It holds up.
Set's a banger. Yeah, it's a really good set.
Love to see it.
Yeah.
Also, I'm sure it looks great after ECL 5 color pairs and now turtles. So
yeah. I guess like there's more there. The ECL slander. I don't know. We'll have to rally for ECL 50 takes.
We absolutely will. I will defend ECL staunchly, except for whatever godforsaken tournament we played where you were firing off lottery tickets.
Yep.
Also, did you see that they like added a win to everyone because their terms of service was wrong? What if with that win, I would have rattled off 3 or 4 wins in a row? Where's the justice for the people who went 1-2 in the draft or one? You know what I mean? Like
I do.
I was 1-2 and I might have rattled off. I got robbed of my chance to rattle off 4 wins in a row.
You want them to not only retroactively give you a win, but to give you some.
I need at least like $200. I want to start a class action lawsuit. Justice for the O2s. Justice for the 1-2s.
You don't know what I was capable of.
And on that note, thank you as always to Salty Pretzels for our intro and outro music. Make sure you give it a listen.
You can find all our content on our website, lordsoflimited.com. There is links to our episode backlogs, our YouTube channel, our Twitch streams, our merch, and our Patreon page if you want to check that out. All of that available at lordsoflimited.com.
If you've got any feedback about the show or any questions, shoot us an email at lordsoflimited@gmail.com.
Thanks so much for listening, and we'll catch you next week for another episode of Lords of Limited.
Thanks, everybody. See you later.